Hi everyone and welcome to Book Boop. My name is Rachel and welcome to the finally fall book tag, which means it's finally fall. I'm so excited. I've been trying to manifest fall for probably a month now. I've got my What Up Boo t-shirt on. I even have my Halloween leggings on right now. I'm so ready. I'm ready for Halloween. I'm ready for fall. And I thought this would be really fun to do the finally fall book tag. I try to do this one or something similar to it every year because it's fun just to have like a fall themed tag to do. So I've got some questions here and let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, first question. In fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. So this one I had a hard time thinking of one because usually when I think vivid setting, I feel like it has to be a fantasy. And I read a lot of like spooky books, paranormal books, and not that those can't be vivid, but usually you think of like a fantasy type setting for that. But this one actually popped in my head and I thought it'd be fun to mention this because it goes perfect with fall. And that is The Bone Garden by Heather Kassner. This one I think very much has a vivid setting. The whole entire book takes place in a house and a graveyard. So a very isolated location, and the graveyard setting is very vivid and creepy and I love it. If you haven't heard of this book before, it's about this little girl that has been magically made from bone dust, and she so desperately wants a family and wants love, but the woman that made her basically uses her as just a slave or just someone to do some work for her. And this little girl wants this woman to love her so much, and then kind of a mystery ends up coming about with this woman and the graveyard, and it's just fantastic and I really enjoyed it. It's a short little spooky read, middle grade, and it's great, and it definitely has a very vivid setting that is perfect for the fall vibes. So that's the first one. All right, next one. Nature is beautiful, but also dying. That's depressing. Name a book that is beautifully written, but also deals with a heavy topic. And the first one that popped in my head for this was The Land of Yesterday by K.A. Reynolds. This is like a wonderful mashup of Coraline and Alice in Wonderland, basically. And I really, really enjoyed it a lot. We're following this little girl who has recently lost her mother and her brother. I think they have, no, her brother passed away. And then when you die in this world, your soul goes to the land of yesterday. And then her mother is grieving so much that she ends up traveling to the land of yesterday to be with her son. And so this girl's family is just falling apart, and she decides to travel into the land of yesterday to try to find her mom. It definitely focuses a lot on grief, and it's very lyrically, beautifully written, and I highly recommend it. I've never really seen anyone else recommend this or have read it, at least that I've personally seen on BookTube. So I highly recommend this one and the other one K.A. Reynolds has written, which is called Spinner of Dreams, that also deals with a heavy topic as well, and it reminds me a lot of the movie Labyrinth. So some really good, very beautifully written but sad books, like some sad themes, but it's still really, really good. So this is a fantastic one to read. Again, honestly, for fall, it's a great fall vibe read. Fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. I will say I have read some more nonfiction than normal this year. I don't normally talk about it on my channel that much, but definitely the one that has stuck with me the most and I feel like has impacted me the most is A Praying Life by Paul E. Miller. This is a book that talks about prayer, and it basically deals with a lot of the misconceptions of what prayer should be. I personally am a Christian, and sometimes I do struggle with prayer quite a bit. A lot of times you feel like there's a certain way you have to talk or think when you pray, or prayers are supposed to go a certain way. And this deals with a lot of the misconceptions of like, it's okay if your mind's wandering when you pray and it's like all over the place. And you know, just remembering the fact that like you are God's child, he is your heavenly father, and he delights to like know you and to hear you, and you don't have to pretend to be something else or say things very eloquently or anything like that. It was such a good book. I'll talk about it more in a future video because I'm going to do a video where I do talk about all my nonfiction reads for the year, just to see if anybody's interested. I don't know. I'm not a huge nonfiction reader, but this one has been very impactful for me, and I could see myself reading this one over and over again and probably get a lot from it every single time. So highly recommend this book. It is fantastic. In order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with the people we love. Name a fictional family, household, or friend group you'd like to be a part of. So usually when I hear this tag, people answer this question. Almost always people are like, the Weasleys. Which, same, I would love to be a part of the Weasley family and hang out with them. They seem like they'd be so much fun. But always try to avoid answering the question with that one, because that one's kind of a given. I feel like that's the first sort of family you think of, bookish family, where you're like, man, I'd really love to be a part of them. There is a certain friend group I adore with all of my heart, and they're from the Cassidy Blake or City of Ghosts series by Victoria Schwab. This is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, middle grade series. It's paranormally fantastic. And our main girl here, Cassidy, she is best friends with a ghost named Jacob. And I adore their friendship, and I would love to be their friends. I want to be a part of their friend group. They are so stinking precious, and I adore them. If you have not heard of this series before, please give it a try for fall. It is so much fun. So we are following Cassidy Blake and her parents. They've been writing books about paranormal or like haunted places and the history behind them. Their books have gotten really popular, and because of that, now they are actually starting a television show. So this follows Cassidy and her parents as her parents travel to different locations, haunted locations, to make episodes of their TV show. And so each book takes place in a different place. So this first book takes place in Edinburgh, the second one takes place in Paris, and the third one takes place in New Orleans. And it's so much fun because Cassidy, she ended up having a near-death experience, and because of that, she's able to see ghosts and communicate with them. And so she's able to see this whole spiritual plane and this whole ghostly plane. And again, her best friend is a ghost. And I love the paranormal aspects of this. It's heartwarming and fun and really spooky, and I love it. So I highly recommend the series so much, but I would love to be best friends with Cassidy and Jacob because they are so stinking precious. And I think their friendship is just the most heartwarming thing ever. So I would love to be a part of their friend group. Please adopt me, Cassidy and Jacob. I love you guys. All right. Okay, this is the fun one. The colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Unfortunately, not yet here. I can't wait. Show a pile of fall-colored spines. This is really fun to put together. I think I picked some really good ones. So let me hold them up here. That looks so fall, doesn't it? I just love them so much. I think that's great. My first thought was definitely using Aurora Burning because it has like the perfect colors for fall. And this one definitely has a lot of fall colors and even has some, those aren't fall leaves. Those are butterflies, but they look kind of like leaves. But there's my stack of fall spines. So pretty. That gets me in the mood. That makes me want to like color code my bookshelves and just put all the fall colors together just to have a vibe. That'd be really, really fun. Oh, okay, sorry. All right, next one. Fall is the perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book where someone is telling a story. So this one I had a little bit of a hard time thinking of one, and I feel like I'm bending the rules slightly with the one I picked, but I think it works. Let me pull up the picture for you because unfortunately I don't own this one, and I need to own it at some point because it was been one of my favorite books of the year so far, and that is The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. So the reason I picked this one, and I feel like it slightly fits, is this is a murder mystery, and we're following a girl who is solving this cold case that happened in the 80s. It's got this classic 80s slasher film vibe. So the reason I'm saying it's like storytelling is the fact that this book jumps back and forth between the past and the present. And so the past is almost storytelling wise because it's telling you what happened in the past and what happened with these murders. So I feel like that kind of is like storytelling in a way. And now it's not necessarily specifically a person in the book going, let me tell you a story. And then they just tell you a story. It's not in there. But I feel like jumping back into the past to say, this is what happened. I feel like that is kind of like storytelling within a book, sort of, in a way. Anyways, this has been one of my favorite books of the year. I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely adored it. Again, it's about this girl. This is the 4th book in the Truly Devious series. However, I would say you could read this book without reading the first 3. This one is kind of a story within its own. It is a start to finish murder mystery. It's about this girl who's obsessed with true crime and obsessed with crimes that were never solved. And she's really, really good at solving crimes that have been cold cases. And in this particular one, there was a summer camp and 4 teenagers that were working at the summer camp were brutally murdered, and nobody knows who did it or what happened, really. They just found the bodies and it was awful. And so this girl is invited to come to the camp and see if she can try to solve the mystery, and it's fantastic. And I loved it. Again, 80s slasher vibes. It was so fun. There's a lot of humor injected to it as well. There's a lot of witty banter in these books. So I highly recommend this one for fall. Again, I feel like you could read this without reading the first three. I think it would be fine. And it's fantastic. So, I'm so glad I was able to fit this book into this tag because it's one of my favorites. The nights are getting darker. Share a dark, creepy read. I've got a good one for you. This is another one that I really need to own, and I've read this year and I really enjoyed, and that is House of Holo by Krystal Sutherland. First of all, look at that cover. Isn't that just so like hauntingly creepy? But it's just so pretty, but that it's creepy at the same time. This was like a dark fairy tale vibe, and I was living for it. So this story, if you haven't heard of it, it's about these three sisters, and when they were little, they just randomly disappeared. Like they were there a second ago, and then their parents turned around for a second, turned back around, and they were gone. They were missing for an entire month. They weren't able to find them, and all of a sudden, randomly, these girls showed back up, but they looked different. Their hair used to be dark. Their hair was now like white blonde. Their eyes had gone black. Like they all used to have light colored eyes. Now their eyes were dark. And they just seemed different, and they seemed hauntingly, as they've grown up, they've become like hauntingly beautiful. And there's a lot of lore behind them. They're kind of famous in a way because of the fact that they just disappeared and then reappeared. And also they don't remember what happened. Like that whole month is like black for them. They just don't remember. They don't remember what happened to them, who kidnapped them. If somebody did, they didn't remember any of it. And so it's this whole mystery behind it. So they're kind of a little bit of celebrity type status to them. And then once they're kind of like in their early 20s, the older sister disappears, and the two other sisters have tried to find her again and unravel what happened to them when they were kids. And it definitely, it's got some pretty creepy moments. It's got body horror in it. It definitely has some very like dark, grim fairy tale vibes, which I absolutely adored, and it was unexpected for me when I read this. So it was so good, and I loved it. Definitely creepy, but worth it. It's a good one. Good, dark, creepy read for sure. All right. The days are getting colder. Name a short, heartwarming book that could warm up someone's cold and rainy day. The first one that popped in my head was Pumpkinheads by Rowell. I love this graphic novel with my whole heart. It is adorable. It's about these two best friends, and through their entire high school career, they have worked at this pumpkin patch every single year, every fall. And this is their senior year. This is the last year they're going to be working together at this pumpkin patch. And it's precious. I love their friendship. It's not just a pumpkin patch, it's like a whole little pumpkin fair. There's like a corn maze and all these like little booths with like fall flavored treats and all sorts of things like that. And it's so adorable, and you're going through this whole entire place. I mean, look at the little map of this little like farm, and there's all these like little bonfires. There's like a little train kids can ride. It's so adorable, and you're just traveling through this whole entire little pumpkin thing. So it's just fall in a book, and it's a wonderful and amazing. And like I said, it's graphic novel, so you can read it really quickly. And I loved it. And I just recently purchased this, and I'm excited to read it again because I read it for the first time last year. And I think this is going to be, I'm going to read every year type of thing to get me in the mood for fall, because this one's perfect. If you haven't read it, read it. It is precious. I absolutely adored it. Fall returns every year. Name an old favorite you'd like to return to soon. I don't reread books very often, to be honest. I have so many books I want to read. I feel like I just don't have time to reread books, which is a shame, because I remember when I was a kid, I would reread my favorite books over and over. Like I would reread the Harry Potter books over and over, and some of my favorite like Mary Downing Hahn paranormal middle grade books over and over and over, the American Girl books over and over and over. And I miss rereading things, but I feel like I just don't have time. But the one that I have been dying to reread, not necessarily as a whole, but just like to find the snippets that I truly love, is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is probably one of, if not the most atmospheric book I have ever read. It's about this circus that is only at night. It arrives without warning. And it's about these two magicians, a girl and a guy, and they are pitted together in this competition that is supposed to be basically a fight to the death. Now, it's a different type of competition than I initially thought it would be once I started reading it. It's actually more of a entertainment type of competition. You would think like it'd be like they're casting spells at each other, and it's not that. It's them using their magic to entertain people and basically trying to one-up each other. But I guess the more magic they push and they use, I think it kind of drains them, and that's kind of what ends up kind of killing them in a way. But it's got a little bit of romance in it, but just the descriptions of this circus and the smells and the sounds and just the visuals in this are so atmospheric. It reminds me of going to kind of like the fall festival in my hometown when I was a kid, and just it reminds me of that feeling of walking through this festival and smelling those kind of like fall fair foods and seeing all the sights and the sounds and the people, and it's got this nostalgic feel to me. And I've just been dying to reread some of this because it just I think this really puts me in such a fall mood, and I've been dying to kind of find those excerpts within this book that have the descriptions of the circus because it's magical. Erin Morgenstern's writing style is so vivid and atmospheric, and I just love it. I love it so much. I love her writing style. All right, this is the last question. It's a little bit of a random one, but it's fall is a perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. I don't have anything like groundbreaking, but to me, there are 4 essential things to have a really cozy time reading. One is a giant mug full of something to drink, whether it's coffee, tea, or just water or whatever. Having a nice big soft blanket, a nice comfy pillow, and of course having some kind of ASMR room on, specifically one that has thunderstorm and fire crackling sounds. That immediately puts me in a cozy mood if I have that ASMR thing on, and it helps me to relax and to focus on what I'm reading. And it's just, so I highly recommend if you've never done that before. There are tons upon tons of them on YouTube to pull up, and they usually have really pretty backgrounds. I always like to find ones that have like a cozy room with it raining outside and there's a fire crackling in the fireplace. This is the best kind. But all right, big mug. This is a mug I've been obsessed with because I bought it last week, and it's a Ouija board mug. Now, Ouija boards freak me out. I would never ever use one. I think personally that's not smart to use them. That's my personal opinion. But so usually I'm not gravitating towards things that have Ouija board things on it, but it's so pretty. And then look at the inside of it. Isn't that just, it's so pretty. I've been using this as my water cup because I want to use it as much as I can. So I've just been using this every day and drinking water out of it. So this is my Ouija board mug. It's very Halloween and I love it. I've got my big old fluffy fall blanket, and it's just got leaves and acorns and all kinds of stuff. It's massive and extremely soft. And even though it's not cold yet to where I feel like I can bundle up with a blanket, I still love having it. But my ultimate favorite thing, and I use it every day, I'm a child, I'm sorry, let me grab it. This is Courage. He is my giant squishmallow. I sleep with him every night because he's incredibly squishy, and he's the perfect kind of pillow to have on my lap, and I can like prop a book on him, but he's just so snuggly and I love him so much, and he's worth everything, and I love him. And the best things about these is that I can put him in the wash. I can put him in the washing machine and the dryer, and I love that too. And he just stays so fluffy, and he's adorable, and his name is Courage, and I love him so much. So those are my cozy accessories. That's what I love to use to read or just be cozy in general. I keep burping. I'm sorry. That's disgusting. Anyways, so that is the Finally Fall book tag. That was a lot of fun. I don't think I did that one last year, and that was a lot of fun. I'm glad to do it. If you would like to do this tag, just do it. I tag you. Go for it. If you don't have a YouTube channel or anything like that, Answer some of the questions down below for me. Maybe tell me like what your favorite like short cozy read is to warm you up or something like that. Just kind of pick one of the questions you like and answer it for me down below and just give me some recommendations. And I hope you're ready for fall. I am so ready for fall. It's my favorite time of year and I'm ready for all the coziness, and I've been drinking all the pumpkin spice flavored things already. And I'm excited. On this side of the video over here is my logo. If you click on that, you can subscribe to my channel, follow me on my book journey. On this side of my video over here is a suggestion for another video if you want to watch another one right now. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. You rock. And don't forget to keep reading. Bye.